Hello, everybody. Welcome to Modern Running Podcast Episode 1. My name is Noah Griffin. I'm here with Jordan Berger, my collegiate teammate. And I think today we're just going to kind of introduce each other, get a little bit of background information going for you all so that you know a little bit more about us, why we started running, how we got into it kind of thing. And then we'll go from there. So do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome intro for the first episode. Just want to congratulate you on that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I've been running for about 7 years, 8 years, like distance running. Did your elementary school have like elementary school track where the longest event was a 400 or something like
I
that?
wish. My elementary school was boring. All we did was play kickball.
Oh, dang. Well, like my high school branches out into like 4 different elementary schools, and each of those came together during elementary school to form like a little track club type of thing. And back in the day, I was a sprinter, like hardcore sprinter. I would do 50 and the 100 meter. I wouldn't go any further than that. I would not do a 200. I thought that was way too far. And that was back in the day when I like played football and baseball and basketball and everything like that. And
now you're a 10K runner.
Yeah, now I'm a 10K guy. I don't know how that happened, but I made it to districts because I would beat everyone like on my team, and I would make it to districts and just get swept out of the water. Like I would get dead last every time, and like my parents were like, "How does that happen? How are you the fastest one on your team, and then you go there and you get like swept out of the water?" And I was like, "No, it's the Hershey kids, I guess." But so then going into 7th grade, the cross country coach came to my elementary school and he was like advertising cross country, and I just assumed that it was track in the fall, and I was like, oh, so I just get to sprint in the fall then. And so that's exactly what I thought cross country was. I was not a distance runner at all. I had no motivation to run even more than like a 400 or like half mile. And I show up to practice on the first day, and they want me to run 2 mulch trails, which a mulch trail at my school is just like the complete perimeter of the school campus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 1.3 miles. I make it halfway. I make it about a half mile, and like I'm exhausted already. I got dual wheeled side stitches, everything just going terrible. And my coach runs by me, and I'm like, how do I get back to the school? Because like I kind of got lost because the trail goes back like around a little pond, and that was about the halfway point that I got stuck at. And I was like, how do I get back to the school? I just want to walk there. I want to be done. And that was my first day of practice. I thought it was the worst thing in the world. I didn't know why anyone would want to do that. But I just kept coming back because the people on the team were funny. And obviously, like, the more you run, the better you get. And so it just went from there.
That's
and like
awesome.
My first race was kind of successful compared to what I thought it was going to be. Kind of like in college. My first race in college, like, I didn't think anything of it. I was just running for fun. Yeah, like I honestly, coming into college, I wasn't expecting to like be competitive. I was just doing it to do it and like to stay, I don't know, I guess involved to like keep my schedule intact. And then everything just clicked, and that's exactly what happened my first race. So that was how long ago was that? That was 7 years ago, I guess.
Wow.
That was back when I had my afro. Have you ever seen that?
No, you have to show me a picture of that.
Yeah, I had an afro in 7th grade. That was great.
We got to see if we can grow that back. Grow a quarantine afro.
Oh, geez. I don't know. It's kind of too late now. Like my hair, when it gets long, it gets curly. You can kind of see it on top. And so I got the
nice quarantine mustache going. I haven't shaved it since we left school. You know,
really?
It's been like 2 months.
I see you got like this.
So you got
your
this is
beard
just nasty.
in too.
It just gets like neck beard type stuff. Like there's nothing that ever comes up on my lip or anything like that. It's just black.
I feel the same way. I got a little bit there. I haven't shaved in, I don't know, a little bit. But yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No. Oh. So like back in the day, I just did it for fun, I guess, because I didn't really like it whatsoever. And then moving on into high school, it sort of became like this outlet for me. Like you'd have school a day and you'd be stressed.
Yep.
And then it was just a time to like hang out with your friends and do whatever you wanted. Well,
Okay.
okay, not
Okay.
whatever you wanted, like you had to run, but
Right.
you
Right.
know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. It's freeing.
Yeah, very freeing, and it's very stress relieving. And I think that is the portion of my motivation that still keeps me running today.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, that motivation doesn't get me through like races and everything. It
Right.
just
Right.
gets
Right.
me through like practice and gets me to
Mm-hmm.
practice to have fun. But
Right.
I think my motivation for races and like what makes me like, when you're 3 miles into a race and you're exhausted, like what doesn't make you give up? I think it's because I'm so average at like everything else that I've done, or like even below average.
Right.
Like
Right.
when I said I played basketball,
Mm-hmm.
I might be the worst basketball player that you have ever met. Like I played, and the season total, I think I had 9 points.
Okay.
And
I mean, it's not awful, but there's definitely
I
room
mean,
for improvement.
yeah, I did have 9. I did score 9,
That's pretty
but
good.
yeah, we never won a game.
Oh.
Our closest one was 2 points, but we never won a
Oh.
single game.
That's
And
sad.
that's probably another reason why I didn't like it, because we never won. But because I was so like bleh at other sports and everything, and then coming to running and seeing a little bit of success and seeing like hard work actually finally paying off, I think that's what keeps me going, and I just want to keep working to see how far it can take me.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. And my choice for LVC going into college wasn't even on my spectrum until senior year, until like a little bit into senior year, probably halfway through the cross country season.
Really?
Because yeah, all through high school. So I have an older sister. She's 3 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in my freshman year, she was a senior doing all her college tours and everything. And I would go with her, and I'd grade the schools based on how good their apples were.
They're apples.
Their apples, yes.
Like
If they had
just a regular old, like apples on a tree, or like apples in the dining hall.
dining hall.
So available apples.
Yeah, and like how
Okay.
good their apples were. Like if they
Okay.
had bad apples, I told her I was not going to go there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Shippensburg actually had the best apples. And
So this is a noticeable difference.
yes,
And
very
you
very noticeable.
remembered,
Their apples were crisp. I remember it. Yes, very much.
So you could tell like Shippensburg apples compared to whatever other school you went to's apples. You're like, this just isn't the same taste. Or
Yep.
Shippensburg has like, as you were saying, crisp apples.
Yep. Shippensburg apples just hit different. They were crisper. They're juicier. They just tasted much better. And that's how I graded the schools we traveled to on. And so Shippensburg was on that's how Shippensburg got on my spectrum. If I didn't go there and eat an apple, I don't think I would even look at Shippensburg. But that was my number one choice until senior year.
Okay.
Like even touring Shippensburg, everything like that, it was my number one choice.
So the apple led to a tour, and you're like, oh, okay.
The
so
apple
has
led
other
to
positives.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good.
And I actually only toured Ship and LVC. I was very narrow with where I wanted to go, because I was like, I either want to go Ship or LVC, nothing in between.
So what put you on the LVC? I almost said apples. What put you on the LVC?
Yeah. So my coach senior year actually told me about LVC, and she was like, you should really check this out. They like, I knew their coach, and he's a good guy. And so I just filled out the recruiting form and got in communication with coach, and then through emails, and I think through emails it led to the overnight visit to stay with the team. Right. And I did that it was right after you guys' Lock Haven meet. I remember that.
I remember you coming.
Yep. And we did like a cornfield and everything like that. And that night, the day prior to the overnight, I was probably leaning like 80% Ship, 20% LVC. And I pretty much made my decision after that night just because of the team.
Really?
Yeah.
Expand on that. What do you mean? So
the atmosphere, like not even the funniness, but like the united funniness. Like everyone knows the jokes that are going on, and everyone is having a good time 24/7. Like there was not a dry moment with the team.
I agree. 100%. That is so similar to my experience on my recruiting visit.
Yeah. And to enhance the 100% dumping everything into LEC. A week or 2 weeks later, the Shippensburg coach got back to me because I also filled out their recruiting form.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that my times were not fast enough to be on his team. And so that was like, all this work I've done for the past 4 years in high school.
I hate it when coaches
Yeah.
say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it, but I feel like there's a better way you could phrase it. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
you're not good enough to be on my team. Like, man, sorry,
Yeah.
already filled all the roster spots. Like, let you down easy or something like that. Because I've had
Yeah.
a coach tell me that before,
Yep.
and it just fuels me to be so much better.
Exactly. Yeah. Every time
I'm like,
I think we erased Shippensburg twice.
Yeah.
We erased them once in the fall at Lockhaven,
Mm-hmm.
and then we erased them at Susquehanna in indoor season.
Yep.
Yeah. And so since he said that I wasn't fast enough, I've made it my ultimate goal that anytime we see Ship, I beat as many guys as I can. And I think I beat 4 in the fall. And then indoor, I don't think they took their like top guys, but it was probably halfway through the 5K, and I saw my mom on the sideline. Or what is it, like the inside of the track? It's
yeah.
I don't really think
she wasn't on
like
the
a
track.
Sideline. Yeah, exactly. And there was a Shippensburg guy right in front of me, and I point to him and I go like this to like, because that's where his name is, and then I surge by him. And after the race, she comes up to me all worried, and she was like, "I thought there was something wrong with your heart. Why did you go like this?" I was like, "No, the Shippensburg. I have to beat him.
There's something wrong."
Yeah, like I was not having a heart attack mid-race. I just want to beat that guy.
I was, but I actually finished the 5K instead of getting help.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
awesome. It was a combination between the team and coach. Coach is amazing.
100%.
He reminds me so much of my high school coach, not just because of the orange hair. But
do they share that in common?
Yeah, they do.
That's pretty unique. You don't meet many people like that.
Exactly. But they're both so, like, their attention to each individual athlete is like unmatched.
And that's special.
Like from what I gather from other schools in high school and like other people I've seen, and like they've talked about their coaches, they're not as focused on each individual runner. They're more of like, here's your top guys, put them on a pedestal, and there's their focus.
Right.
Whereas like O'Brien and my coach from high school, they're focusing on everyone so that everyone improves, because it is an individual sport as much as it is a team sport.
Right.
And like if you don't have that, yeah, exactly. And if you don't have that like individual drive, that like, oh, coach doesn't care about me, I don't need to do better.
Right.
Whatever. So it like, by helping each individual, you're helping the team to get better. And
you're only as good as your slowest runner.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. But yeah, that's all I got. So
that's awesome.
What about you? Why did you start?
That's a great question. So basically, I started running when I was like 4 years old, believe it or not.
Oh, jeez.
I still remember my very first run. My mom had been running for a long time at this point. She was training for like half marathon. So she wasn't like fast. I don't want to like diss my mom, but like, she wasn't insane, but she was pretty good. She could run a half marathon.
Yeah, to be able to run.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was training for that. And I remember my dad was just starting to get into it. So he would go for like 3-mile runs just to kind of start. And we had a loop that if you go around this big old block, it's essentially a square you're running in. It'll be 3 miles and it'll bring you right back to our house. But it was like, I had to go with someone, obviously, because I was 4 years old. Yeah. And I begged them for the longest time, months. Can I please go for a run with you? Can I please go for a run with you? And no, not yet. Well, one day I'm sitting in my room reading and my mom's like, hey, do you want to come for a run? I'm telling you, I shot up so quick. I was like, yes, I do.
That's not something you hear every day either.
It's insane.
Normally when you're like young and everything, like young people, they like running, but they don't like running far.
Right.
They like going fast.
There was something about it. I was like, yes, I want to go. So I went for a run. I ran this 3-mile loop. I don't know how long it took me. It was insane. But my mom taught me, she was like, whenever you get tired, you pick something, a sign, a pole, and just run to that. And then when you get there, you pick something else and you pick something else and you just keep going. And the more you do that, the quicker the run goes by. And that helps me on long runs when we go for like,
it still does.
Miles.
You still use that.
Yep. You just pick something. You pick it and you just, so whenever I'm like, if we're having a conversation, I'm zoning out, then I don't need it. But if there's like days where, you hit mile 6 out of 13 and you're like, holy crap, I just want to be done.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired. I want to go eat something. And everybody's kind of quiet. Pick a pole, pick a tree, and just run to the tree, and then just keep moving up. And it breaks the rundown so much, but at the same time, it's just you're constantly achieving a goal.
Yeah.
And so mentally, everything's just clicking, and it helps.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to try that now.
It's really nice. It's really nice. The first couple of times you do it, you're like, God, this sucks because you pick like 100 things in a run.
Yeah.
But once it like you just kind of do it subconsciously once you get used to it. So I loved in elementary school how like running was the thing, you know, like in high school it's like football or being athletic. Usually middle school everybody's just kind of weird doing their own thing, but like elementary school running is the thing. If you can run whatever the mile fast or however big your loop is, that everybody has that loop for PE class, I feel like, and if you can do that well, everybody's like, how did he do that? So it was always
in
my
elementary
goal.
school, it's like speed and coolness is on the same spectrum. They go together.
It goes up. The faster you are, the cooler you are. Everybody wants to know you. So it was my goal to always win those. So we started out, and I forget whatever year you started. I did like 3 of them or something like that. So whatever year I started, I got 3rd, and that pissed me off. I was so mad. I was like, this is stupid. This sucks. So that's why I was like, I want to run. So then the next 2 years I won. But I mean, again, it's elementary school. And I wish I knew how long that thing was. I feel like it was like half a mile or something like that, but it felt like a 10-mile race. I was just chugging along. So middle school, I kind of stopped because, you know, I moved from New York to Maryland.
You used to live in New York?
I was born in New York. I was born in Syracuse, New York. I lived there for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I moved right before 5th grade. So the summer going into my 5th grade year, I moved into an apartment from a house. So that was kind of a shift. And I stopped running. I just kind of was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm going to do my own thing. I'd been playing basketball. My mom played basketball in high school. So I played basketball. I averaged a little more than 9 points this season, I'd say. But it was all rec league. So winning and losing didn't really matter. You just went every Saturday to play a game. So I did that for most of middle school. I tried my 8th grade year, I tried to get on a travel team, but I was not good enough, nowhere near good enough. And so my mom let me down very easily. She was like, hey, listen, they already filled all the roster spots, so you're not going to, you know, like the very gentle. It's okay.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
We'll get you signed up for rec league, no worries. So that was good. But I was a little bummed. But at the same time, I was like, it's just basketball. Just because I didn't make, you know, some travel team, it's not going to dictate the rest of my life. So in high school, I had heard about this thing called cross country. And I actually didn't even go to the meeting. So there is a meeting that we do at the end of middle school where the high school coach will come. And I didn't even go to it because I was like, the coach doesn't know me, because my friend Brandon had known the coach because he had 2 older brothers. So he was like, Noah, you should come if you're interested. He was like, I know the coach. I'll introduce you. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, it's fine. I'll meet him on the first day. So I didn't go to any summer conditionings or anything like that. I showed up on the first day and I was like, I'll be like the best freshman here, better than any of these chumps, because I ran when I was 4. But if anybody has ever run endurance, you know that the moment you take even the smallest of breaks, that endurance goes out the window very quickly.
Big time.
You can build it back up easily, but it
You'll
goes out
lose
the
it
window
very quickly.
That 10-year gap that I kind of took, 9 to 10-year gap of just no running, I was starting from scratch. And, you know, being 4, you don't really build up a base of endurance anyways.
Yeah.
So I started running, and being a JV runner in high school, I'm so sorry to anybody who's listening that knows this, but I didn't really run at practice. I'll be straight up about it. It wasn't the most fun thing in the world because I wasn't good at it. And when I wasn't good, I didn't want to do it. So I would goof off in practice. We played like disc golf with baseballs. We'd play that. We just throw baseballs at disc golf things. It was the strangest thing, but it was better than running. But then races wouldn't go well. And I was like, why aren't my races going well? I'm like, well, you're an idiot. It's because you're not running. Like, you have to run to get better at running. That's how you get better. So my sophomore year, I was like, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to run this summer. And that was one of the hardest I've ever trained, like comparatively. Obviously I train a lot harder
Yeah.
now, but the mental side of it, I was just on edge every day. I was like, I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to go run. And I ended up bouncing back between JV and varsity that year. And then I ended somehow miraculously the regional meet, which is like the meet where you qualify for states. Everybody, like I had made varsity because I won the JV counties meet and I beat 2 people on my varsity team. So my coach was like, all right, I'll put you on varsity, but like you got to show up because every other varsity race I choked like big time. So I was like, all right, I'm here. I'm going to show up. It's the regional meet. Like now's the time to show up. And I don't know what happened to this day. Couldn't tell you, but I got second on my team on varsity after
Oh,
being,
wow.
I was blown away. There's a video of my friend Shane, just like you can visibly see how just taken aback he is because I come up to go finish and he's like got his hands on his head like, what is happening right now? Like just absolutely blown away. So I got a ribbon that day. That was the very first ribbon I ever got. It was at my regional meet. Never would have thought. I got 13th place. And I was actually with Garrett Santos, one of our teammates who just graduated. He ran that race.
Oh, wow.
I think he was like 8th or something like that. But
so
that was a great race. That was something that kind of that race, like you were saying that you started to kind of see success. That race slingshotted everything. That was what set up my career as a runner. So the drive, I would say, comes from wanting to be better. Every day I wake up and I think that every run should serve a purpose. You know, every run should make you better in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to make you better physically, which is, I think, something that a lot of people mistake. Like a recovery run, it doesn't really make you better physically. But if you take the time to like really look at yourself or find something, you can tweak like your form on a recovery run and then you've made yourself better. You can think about something that happened during the day and then mentally you may have made yourself better. You can look back at a lot of things that have happened and find a lot of things that you can improve on in just the course of a 30-minute run. So
I think you just gave me motivation. That was that was very strong statement right there. That just gave me motivation to run.
Every single run, I try to find something to make better about myself, about my form, about my running, about my strength. There's always something that you can improve on. And I feel like when you find that, you just feel better after a run because you're like, oh, that's great. I really worked on this for 30 minutes. Like, it's not like you're just sitting down bored for 30 minutes. Like, you're doing something good for you. And you really, like, the time goes by so much faster when you're running. A lot of people don't think it doesn't think that it does, but it goes by so quickly. When you're really thinking about something that you want to get better at. So that's what keeps me going. For races, I just want to beat the guy in front of me. I don't care who he is, where he's from. I just want to be the best. In a very humble way. I don't want to say it like I'm bragging, but like I believe that I was made to be a runner. And so I want to be the best runner that I physically can be. And so, you know, every step, if that's dig a little bit deeper just to get to the guy in front of you, I want to be, if that's the best runner, you know, is, you know, 4th place, but it took genuinely everything out of me. Like you at Max is a perfect example. You crossed that line. I don't think you could see.
I couldn't. No.
That is the level that I push myself every single race. I mean, I try to, I want to say, because I can usually see after a race, but I want to get to the point where I collapse over a line and I don't know who my parents are because I cannot see, you know, full shapes. And I feel like that's like the mental side of racing, where once you unlock that aspect of things, like it just shoots, like your levels just shoot up. And I think that's where that sophomore year race at regionals, that was a part of, there's just a little taste. They were like, here, look, this is what can happen if you really try. And so now ever since then, I've been trying to get back to that point.
Yeah. So just for perspective, do you know your time that you ran at that original meet compared to previous times?
Yeah. So
how much of a difference?
It changes courses every year. But that year I ran an 18, no, was a 1740 or something like that. It was like 1739 because I was pissed that it wasn't 1738 because that was when Fetty Wap was going around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it was a 1739, and I know that races that are similar in elevation and that kind of thing. We did a regional meet that was very similar to that my senior year, and I ran in the 16s or something like that.
Okay.
So you can see there's a huge progression that's
Yeah,
been happening.
big difference.
And even from my freshman year, my very first ever 5K was flat. Like I'm telling you, flat.
Like
and I ran
like Lock Haven flat.
flatter.
Oh,
Like I'm telling you,
wow.
this thing is ridiculously flat.
Yeah.
And I ran a 20-minute 5K or something like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you can see
It's
just
a
even
great
in 1
improvement.
year, the fitness, and that was just training over the summer. That's all I did. To get better at running, you just have to run.
Yep.
So that was just 1 year, and then all I did was kept running. I mean, obviously I did workouts, but then I ended up, running 15:43 miles, set the school record in high school.
Jeez.
That race was insane.
Yeah, that's flat. That's
that course I think nets downhill. I don't know how it does because it loops and you start where you finish, but it's got to net downhill somehow. I don't understand it. That race is crazy because schools from like Virginia will come up to race it, and
Oh, wow.
they're big schools. And my school that I went to high school at is a big school, so we'll race against them, and so we get absolutely destroyed every time. But yeah, it was funny. I got my sophomore year, I ran that race, and I got 14th in the 14th in the JV race, with whatever time, I forget what it was. But then my senior year, I got 14th in the varsity race.
Jeez.
And they gave me the same medal that I got my
Wait,
sophomore
really?
year. Yeah,
What?
it's the same exact. One says varsity, one says JV, but it says 14th place, same ribbon, same little like design. It's really funny.
Wow.
So I picked LVC because I actually only visited LVC. That was the only school I ever visited. I went to a college fair one night and this was when I wanted to do actuarial science. So I went to every school that just had actuarial science listed as one of their like majors, because they'll have like the board listed with every major. And like UNC, Chapel Hill, the Ohio State University, like big schools like that. I was like, this will be cool. And then I was like, I really don't know if I want to go that far away from home. Like I like going home. I like seeing my family. And so I met this school, Lebanon Valley College, that had actuarial science on there. So I was like, all right, I'll talk to them. So I talked to the guy and I was like, what is your average SAT score? Basic college questions. And the guy was like, actually, we don't require an SAT. And that kind of took me aback because I was like, oh, like, what's the like academic level of this tuition then? Because if you don't require an SAT score, like, can anybody get in?
Yeah.
So I just kind of like put that one under my radar. I was looking at Temple a lot. That was really where I think I wanted to go the most.
Philly.
Because they had Axi, yeah. And I was like, that's just, they had Axi and they were kind of close. And I was like, all right, well, I'll go to Temple. So we were going to schedule a visit, and I dropped something off of my bed and I went to go get it, and all of the college stuff was under my bed. So I looked at it, and in bright red letters, it said something like 99% of actuarial science students get a job after graduation. And I was like, what school is that? Like, why didn't I know about this? So I took it and I was like, oh, it's this Lebanon Valley College school. Like, that's kind of cool. So I started to do more research on it because I was, taken aback by that. And I saw the, 99% job rate for all majors after graduation. I looked them up. One website said they were like top 10 in the country for actuarial science. So I was like, that's insane. So I started to do research into their cross country program because I saw that they were D3, and I was like, well, I didn't really think I could run in college, but like maybe I can. So my junior year, I remember I emailed my coach, or I emailed O'Brien while I was eating lunch, because I was just I sat on it for like 2 months. I was like, should I
What'd you
email
have for
this
lunch?
guy? I
Do you
don't
remember
know.
that? Do you remember the small detail?
It was the same thing every day. I had a ham sandwich.
Oh,
A ham sandwich with
yeah.
barbecue Lay's chips and some carrot sticks.
No. Do you put the chips in your sandwich? I know some people would do that at my school.
I do it with peanut butter and jelly. I don't do it with ham.
You put chips in your peanut butter and jelly?
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, after you get out of the pool, that snack changes your life.
Oh,
You
I'll
get
have
out
to
of the
try
pool, you take peanut butter and jelly, you throw some like Ruffles on that bad boy. Oh,
that.
change your life.
Does it give it that like salty taste that it
It's
needs?
just, I don't even know what it is, but it's heaven. That's the best food I could ever ask for. After you get out of the pool, peanut butter and jelly, Ruffles on that bad boy. Eat that, and then you don't even wait 10 minutes. You get right back in the pool. Changes your life.
I'm gonna have to try that next time I skinny
will.
dip. I was wondering if you're gonna pick up on that.
So I waited for like 2 months, and I texted like my best friend Shane and my mom, and I was like, should I email this guy? Like, I just don't know. Because it can be daunting when you see like head coach for Lebanon Valley College. This is the guy that would decide if I can run.
Yeah.
Right. This is college running. So I emailed him. I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna send it. So I emailed him a long email, a link to both my track and field and cross country times. And I was like, I'm really interested. So like, let me know if you are interested in having me or anything like that. So here's my new pup. She's coming in to take a nap.
Yes.
She's a little tired. So he was like, he emailed me back and he was like, yeah, fill out this recruiting form and let me know like if you're interested in coming for a visit. So I was like, okay, that's like sick because that's not a no. And this is going to be just horrible. So I said, all right, bet I'll fill out the recruiting form. And we can see like if I can come up for a visit. So I forget how much time went by, but it was probably the summer before my senior year. It was that spring because I saw Garrett in class. So I went up and I toured the campus. It was like the end of winter, beginning of spring, because it was when there was a big snowstorm.
Okay.
So they called me and they're like, hey, are you still coming? I was like, yes, I am, because I'm not going to miss this moment. I want to see this coach and I want to see the school. So I went up and we met the coach. I had a talk with him for probably like 20 minutes, and I could just tell that he was very dedicated to what he did. He took the time to make sure that he did things right. And that to me stood out because my coach in high school, while I loved the hell out of him, that wasn't his full-time job. He cemented in mailboxes for a living. We called him the mailbox man.
Okay.
So for our coach's gift, I got him a mailbox. It was really funny. So he had 3 daughters and worked this, job cementing in mailboxes, and then came and coached when he could, which is at no fault of his own, but that wasn't his full-time job, So I was completely shocked when I met a guy who was like just devoted to making
like
better.
every single ounce of his attention is to his job.
Yes.
Which is coaching.
Right. So I was being recruited by a couple of schools at that time. Elizabethtown was one of them. And Appalachian State was another. And I immediately knew after I met coach that I was like, this is where I want to go. So he was like, all right, well, come on a recruiting visit, meet the team, and we can kind of go from there. So, okay, bet. So I came on a recruiting visit. I had this guy, Noah Brady, as my, host, I guess they're called.
Yeah.
So great guy. We went to the corn maze that we took you at. And like you said, everything was just so funny. Like, I remember I met Noah Baxter, and he's one of my favorite people. I love that guy.
He was actually my host.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was. I always say I told him on, that like senior thing that we had at the end of cross country where we signed stuff. I wrote, "You're the reason I came to LVC."
That's crazy.
But he was just such like a cool guy, and like I saw myself in him so much. Like we even had the same cologne. Like I looked on his dresser, and he had the same cologne I wore, which I didn't know anyone else who wore that cologne. I was like,
he's such a personable guy.
Yeah.
And so is like most people on that team. Like I could take them and see parts of my high school teammates in them. Like, oh, this guy's like this person, and this guy's like this person, and so it's like that doesn't really seem like that much of a transition. Like I feel like I would fit in well here because I fit in well on my team. And so I met them. I was like, this is it. This is where I want to go. So that was the fall of my senior year. Coach came to visit me at my regional meet. I felt so bad. He drove 4 hours to watch me run a regional race for cross country. And I was actually, this was a college coach came up to me before my race, and or after my race, but before coach had talked to me, and he was like talking to me about being recruited, and Coach O'Brien is standing right behind him, and he's just laughing because I was like kind of looking at Coach O'Brien expecting the guy to turn around, and the guy wouldn't let me get a word in because I was going to tell him, hey, listen, I actually have another coach here that I'm going to go to his school.
So at that point
I got
decided.
accepted. I decided that it was official. And I was locked in, but the guy just kept talking. I was like, dog, listen, I really could spare you this whole speech. I've heard it before. It's okay. I have another coach here. And he was awkward as the day was long. So he left finally.
Do you know what school it was from?
It was some Catholic school, I want to say.
Okay.
Coach remembers, I think. I'll have to ask him because he brings it up to me all the time. It's so funny. But so this was right after my race. I hadn't even taken my spikes off yet. We were talking, and he was like, hey, you had a great race. I really saw a lot of things that we can improve on there, and that's like something that I'm excited for. But he's like, keep working for track, and I'll come see you, I'm sure, for a meet in track. I was like, all right, bet. And this had, taken some time with the other coach. So my team had started to do a cool down, and I hadn't yet, and my spikes were still on. So I was like, wait, guys, wait up. And I did a cool down in my spikes after a regional meet. So coach was driving away, and he just heard the click,
Did he yell at you?
He no, but he still holds it over my head to this day. He was like, I just cannot believe my first impression, like after watching you race, you did a cool down in your spikes on pavement. I was like, yeah, well, that wasn't the smartest decision I
That's
made.
funny.
So then he came to my state meet to watch me run the 2 mile. And that race, that was my last race in my collegiate career, and it went very well.
High school career?
Yeah. Or sorry. Yes, my high school career. But it was hot. And so I went, to do the 2 mile. I ran the race. And when I was coming down the last 100, I was like, well, this is it. Like, give it all you got. So I started sprinting. I passed like 3 kids coming down the stretch. And I go to pass a 4th. And I'm in lane 2 booking it. And there's this kid looks back at me like 5 meters from the finish line, and he steps in a lane 2, and right as I was about to cross the finish line. So I'm telling you, I smack his back and I push him, and I shouted something awful at him. And I really, like, an official looked at me, and I looked at him, and I threw my arms up like I was in a mood, and I expected to get disqualified. But I didn't, thank God. I was getting water, and the kid came up to me, and he was like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. And I said some choice words again. And I was like, you better I need you to leave me alone right now. Like, I'm done.
You were fuming at that point. You were done.
I
did not want to see him.
Genuinely furious. I went up to the stands, and I saw coach, and I was like, hey, I'm really not like that a lot. Like, I apologize. And he goes, I thought it was really funny. I enjoyed watching it. I was like, well, I'm glad, because I was having a panic attack for the last 5 minutes thinking that you were going to be mad at me. Like, I don't know if I want this guy representing my school.
That is like, totally, I can totally see Coach saying something like that.
So yeah, that was, after that, I was like, I just love this coach. I love the team. So I came to LVC, and I've had nothing but success from it. Coach is the kind of guy who will devote hours and hours and hours of time to you if you're willing to devote yourself back. And I am still. And so that's something that has gotten me, to the point where I am today.
Yeah.
So,
which is a very, very fast runner.
Hopefully we can get better. There's always room for improvement, but I am very grateful with where I am today. And I think that not only high school, but college has a lot to do with that. But I also think that there's another path that keeps going that I can go down as long as we keep going. But speaking of running, summer just started, baby. We're getting into summer training. And coming off of this Rona-filled spring, how did spring training go for you?
Lonely, very, very lonely, but also kind of cool. Like, I don't know if you've ever gone on a trail during your spring training and like saw a bunch of people that are not normally on trails.
I didn't. I wanted to go to like an insanely long trail that runs up into Pennsylvania, but I didn't. I wanted to do my 10K time trial there, but I decided the track would have been better for pacing reasons.
Okay, yeah.
But I've heard that there are a lot of people that aren't necessarily like they're picking up running for the first time.
Yep, completely packed. Do you know Swatara State Park? We went there in preseason. Yeah, that's like my main training ground for winter, summer. Anytime I'm home, that's where I do my running at because it's soft. It's flat or hilly, depending on what I want, depending on which Y I take at the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And normally when I run there, I park 2 miles away from where we park. So it's that stretch right there is always empty, like no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And a few weeks ago when I ran there, I think I saw 10 to 20 people on that stretch.
Gosh.
And then even more once I got to the other part. Because you know how where we would park for preseason, there would be, I don't know, 10 parking spots and then a long road to get into it.
Right.
Well, the parking lot was filled and there was cars parked on the side of the road.
Oh my gosh.
Like as far as I could see until the turn. And I was like, why are all these people here all of a sudden? And
that's crazy. Quarantine really do be making people go crazy.
It does. And there were so many people on bikes, walking, running, everything. Yeah. And then 2 weeks ago, it was when was Mother's Day? Was that last weekend? Or it was either Mother's Day or it was my sister's birthday. They're a week apart, so I don't really know. Either way, so one of those days, we went to a different trailhead in the same park, and Bordner's Cabin is this dude in 50s or something. He built this cabin back in that park.
Okay.
And it has like a cool waterfall behind it, and people go there every now and then, but every time I've been there in the past, no one else has ever been there. Okay. So we parked at the popular trailhead for that and walked to it, which is like 1.5 miles. And I've seen more people there that day than I do at like it felt like it was like a race day at Union Canal. Insane. Like there were packs of people. Like I swear this one family that walked by, it was like family, cousins, relatives, everyone they knew all went at the same time. And there were multiple things like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So as much as the running was lonely when I was at home, if I went anywhere, it was a constant, hi, good morning, how are you?
Oh gosh. Whenever I'm talking to people while I'm running like strangers, that it's okay if I'm doing like a recovery run, but if I'm doing something like an up-tempo faster run and people are like, hey, how are you? I'm like, okay, can't really talk right now. I've got something going on, but I do like to be friendly because there is that kind of bond between runners where if you see people, you're always just like, hey, good for you for being out here too.
Yep. Do you know those awkward those awkward situations where you run by someone and you say one thing and they thought you said something else, and then it's like nothing makes sense at all? That happened to me this morning actually on my run.
Just have a conversation of gibberish.
Yeah, I was coming up. Yeah, exactly. I was coming up behind this couple, and like they didn't know I was coming. I was getting pretty close, and I didn't want to spook them because I mean that has probably happened to all of us before. Where you're running behind someone and you spook them and they scream and get terrified.
Yep.
And I didn't want that to happen, so I shouted out, "Coming up on your right!" And when I got there, the woman goes, "Good, how are you?" And I didn't say anything. I didn't, because like it took me a minute to process what she said because I didn't expect them to say anything.
Right.
And she just goes, "Good, how are you?" It's like when an official tells you good luck and you say thanks, you too. Like he's not running a race.
Shoot, I messed that up.
Yeah.
Those are the worst because people I just don't know how to react to that situation.
Yeah. Most of the time I just don't say anything because I don't process it that fast.
Right. It takes you a minute to understand what was she saying. Was she talking to me?
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
She had
Spring
a big old
training,
smile though. She was nice.
that's good. That's always nice when you see people that are happy. I hate seeing people that are out there
Oh
and
my
like
God. And they're just miserable.
rude. Right. Like,
Yeah.
just go inside.
Yeah.
Nobody nobody's making you be out here. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they are. If they are, that sucks. I'm sorry. But if you
Don't
put a
take it out
smile
on
on,
me.
it's usually a little bit better.
Yeah.
I've gotten into ever since spring, you know, cancellations and stuff like that. I got into this app, the Nike Run Club app, and
I used to have that.
1000% recommend it for anybody who doesn't like running alone, anybody who wants a little bit, not necessarily a coach or anything like that, but a guided run. So it's not tailored to them, but it's guided. So there's conversations that are happening around you as well as your music. If you like running to music, um, changed the way I ran 100%. I listened to a story about Eliud Kipchoge, how he trains.
Oh,
Which
is that the app where you have runners talking to you as you
Yep.
run?
So
And
I
like
had one.
are they running as they're talking too?
No, they're doing. It's similar to like a podcast, like you and I are doing.
Okay. Yeah.
But you're running, and they talk like
Okay.
you're there. So they talk like they know you're listening to them, which I think is super special because he'll say, "Hey, you're doing great." Like the coach, I think his name is Chris Bennett, is the Nike Run Club global head coach, and so he'll say, "Hey, you're doing great, good job." Like just periodically throughout, and those little like boosts where you're like, I'm out here running, and that's something that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's little boosts like that. And he gives you, when I say every run, I want to find something to get better at. There's little like 30-minute segments where he's like, thank you runs, where you find things to be grateful for. Or there's runs where it's like looking into yourself and seeing what you can do differently with something. And so it's like little things like that where they really make a difference with a lot of things. So
It seems pretty cool.
I
And
love it.
you just started using that in the
Yeah, I
spring?
used it for spring, and my favorite one was with Lopez Lemong, who was it's a 90-minute story. I ran a 14-mile long run to it. It's a 90-minute story, and it was about how he was actually like kidnapped when he was a kid in Africa, and about how he went to he had to escape from a prison camp. He ran for like 4 days straight. It's an incredible story, and you have it's just insane to really think about. Like this happened to this guy, and now he's a professional runner.
Yeah,
that's insane. So absolutely, that was one of my favorite ones. But there's a ton on there. There's ones with the creator of Headspace, which is a meditation app. So it's like very calming, and a lot of like looking inward runs, which I also love to do because, if you're not going to strengthen your legs, strengthen your mind, strengthen both at the same time.
Yeah. Mind is very much just so as important as legs when it comes to running.
Exactly. Especially in racing. The moment you let your mind win, it's over. So yeah, it was a really good game changer for me. I feel like that shifted the tide with how much I was able to focus on my running. So that was good. I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it 100%. Now we're getting into summer. Nice little base building time.
My favorite.
You like running in the summer?
Oh yeah. I only ran in 2 summers. Like coming off senior year, going into college, obviously had to. And then junior year and the senior year I did. But before that, I would never run in the summer. I just didn't have motivation.
Okay.
But in those 2 seasons, it has definitely been probably my favorite training block.
Why?
I think it's because of how much time I have. Like when you're in the midst of classes and you have like exams and races and everything, it can sort of transfer all that stress into your run.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened to me in the spring. and coach, because I would comment every time on our final surge. I was like, my mind was just completely cluttered, and it just made me run like crap and feel like crap.
Mhm.
And so he advised me to do my runs in the morning then, and that definitely helped because then you're like fresh mind
Fresh
for the
start.
day,
Yep.
and
And
you
you've done
start
one
your day
good
off
thing.
right.
Right.
Yep, exactly, and it just keeps the ball rolling for the day, as well as you get in a better run than being all stressed out and everything.
Right. Please don't bite my shirt.
But
Summer's gonna be good. I'm excited for preseason. I hope that this Rona stuff clears up by then.
yes,
We can go back for preseason because Ohio Pile is gonna be a
that
ton of
was
fun
so
this year.
much fun.
The houses that we have are beautiful. I'm
Oh
so
yeah,
excited.
you guys picked them already.
They are beautiful. The one
Oh,
that we
yeah.
have, I'm telling you, we've never had a better one.
Really?
I'm so excited.
Is it?
Everything positive about the past two houses that I've had are in this one house.
Ooh, is the water better than the
I'm
stuff
hoping
we
so.
had this year?
There's no egg water.
No egg water.
There's no mouse in the
Oh.
chips.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That was crazy. We can end off on that story if we want. Give
yeah,
everybody
totally.
a little laugh.
Who was the one that actually opened? Was it Baxter?
I think it was Baxter.
Yeah.
So for everybody who doesn't run with us, we take a preseason trip every year over the summer and end of August before classes start to a place in Pennsylvania called Ohio Pile.
The most fun trip of my life.
Beautiful. It's a huge team bonding experience because you get all of the freshmen that are still like
Shy,
getting used to everybody. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Nick Stokes. He was a shy guy, but now he's like super opened up.
Yeah.
So you get all the freshmen and you get to come together and you're forced to be with each other for a week. So you have to really find a way to get along and to get to know each other. So we'll do, runs in the morning. We'll do workouts and we'll do different activities. Like last year we went ziplining. The year before we toured the Falling Water Mansion, which was really cool. So we'll go there and kind of get to know each other, have a good time. But you spend a lot of time at your house and getting to know your teammates. We played Monopoly a bunch last year.
All the time.
So
I don't think I've ever won. I don't think anytime we teamed up and played that, I don't think I've ever won.
Damien was insane at it. I don't know how he's so good at Monopoly.
Yeah.
No, Baxter and I, we took at the start of a game, he took like a fistful of $500 bills and we put it under his leg and he just kept adding them to his pile and we still didn't win. It was insane.
Did anyone even notice?
Nope. Nobody had any idea. I was really proud of that. We were amazing cheaters.
You discreetly cheated.
Yes.
But still didn't win.
Still lost. Cheaters never win.
Wow. It's true.
So anyways, we were there in the house and we have to cook our own meals and stuff like that. But the school provides food and stuff because coach will go to a grocery store. So we had a bag of chips. I think it was chips.
Yep. Lay's potato chips. I think it was just regular potato chips.
Regular old potato chips. And like I said, this is in the middle of nowhere. So you go.
Literally, we didn't even have service.
No, you don't have cell service or anything like that. You've got like whatever Wi-Fi the house provides, but usually
which there were only like less than 10 people who could be on it. Right.
Yes.
Like it blocked out after that.
Very small.
Yeah.
So Noah opened up the potato chips one day and just kind of yelled like, "Oh my God." I don't think he used exactly those words, but we were all like kind of confused. We were like, what's going on? And he was like, there's a mouse in the chips. And so I guess a mouse had found its way into the house and into the bag of chips that night and was just kind of chilling. He was living his best life. He had an endless supply of food and all that.
He was probably planning on getting so fat until he saw us. Like imagine being a little mouse inside the bag of potato chips eating.
It's warm. It's nice and dark. You get as many chips as you can eat.
Yep.
And do you remember what I think it was Damien. He took the chips and he just kind of turned them upside down off the deck and the mouse just went down.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He went bye-bye. So there was grass. It wasn't like, we didn't drop him on the road or anything like that, but
it was safe. It was prepared.
But he went into the grass and stayed there for for a little while. Do you remember the turtle that was on the rock that
Oh
was missing
my,
like an eye?
yes, yeah. That turtle was like,
That was the most
it's seen
badass
some
turtle I've ever
stuff. Yeah,
seen.
yeah,
Turtle, there was like a mini snapping turtle or something. I don't know what kind of turtle, but it had
yeah,
like a jaw like a snapping turtle. And the thing was missing an eye. Like its tongue, half of its mouth was gone, so like its tongue was just hanging out.
yeah.
It was the
I
most
was on the deck
terrifying
watching
thing.
you guys interact with that thing.
I was trying to poke it, but I didn't want to like get my hand taken off. So I was
Yeah.
being very careful.
If
This
it
dog's
was a
about to
snapping
take mine.
turtle, those things are vicious, dude.
They are.
Like
Snapping turtles terrify me.
yeah, I've only ever seen one, and it was on like the side of the road. I was with some friends,
Mm-hmm.
and their dad came out and like took care of it. But I've never seen such a vicious little animal before.
They are just angry. They're
Yeah,
filled with so much hate.
yeah, and apparently their jaws are like super super strong too,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I wouldn't expect.
I wouldn't want to go near any one of those. Hell
Definitely not. No.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got today. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you have
Yeah.
any suggestions, head on over to our Instagram. It's at Modern Running. You can send us a DM. Let us know anything that you want us to kind of talk about, discuss. We're always open to suggestions. And until next time, we'll see you later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.